Hi, good morning. Today we are going to start our next section, session 45. Okay, just to recall what we have discussed in our last class, we have discussed a new definition T conductor of alpha. T conductor of alpha into W is a set of four polynomial G such that G of T of alpha belongs to W. And also we have defined T conductor of alpha into W as the monic polynomial G of at least G of least degree such that G of T alpha is in W. That is, it is a generator of S alpha W. Okay. So also we have proved T conductor divides minimal polynomial for T. Now moving to next definition. A linear operator T is called triangulable. Earlier we have discussed about diagonalizable operator. Here triangulable if there is an ordered basis in which T is represented by a triangular matrix. Diagonalizable means there is an ordered basis in which all vectors are characteristic vectors, and also we have proved if T is a diagonalizable operator, then corresponding matrix is a diagonal matrix. So here linear operator T is triangulable if there is an ordered basis in which T is represented by a triangular matrix. Moving to one lemma. Let F be a finite dimensional vector space over the field F. Okay, and T be a linear operator on V such that minimal polynomial for T is a product of linear factors P equal to x minus C1. Here this is x minus C1 raised to R1 etc. x minus Ck raised to Rk. Okay, P equal to x minus C1 raised to R1 x minus C2 raised to R2 etc. x minus Ck raised to Rk for Ci belongs to F. Okay. Let W be a proper subspace of V. Let W is properly contained in V, which is invariant under T. That is, TW is contained in W. Then the lemma says that there exists a vector alpha in V such that alpha not in W. Okay. We have minimal polynomial for T is a product of these linear factors, and the theorem says that there exists a vector alpha in V such that alpha not in W and T minus Ci alpha is in W for some characteristic value C of the operator T. Okay, so what we have to prove actually, suppose minimal polynomial is of this form, then there exists a vector alpha in V such that alpha not in W, also T minus Ci alpha is in W. Okay, for some characteristic value C of the operator T. Now moving to the proof, given that W is a proper subspace of V. Okay, that means what is the meaning of that? There exists a vector beta belongs to W such that beta naught belongs to W. Now let G be the T conductor of beta into W. What is T conductor of beta into W means? G of T into beta belongs to W. Then G of T into beta belongs to W. If G of T is a constant, G of T beta belongs to W implies beta belongs to W, because suppose G of T is a constant. Suppose G of T is equal to C. So G of T beta means C beta. Okay. C beta means, suppose this is C, some I. G of T is a constant means G of T equal to some constant means this is a constant polynomial. That means this into I of B if you apply operator. So this is actually C into IB, and that's equal to C into I beta. That means C beta. C beta is in W. Okay. C beta is in W. W is a subspace. Therefore, if we divide it by 1 by C, then that also belongs to W. That means beta belongs to W. But that is a contradiction because we choose beta such that beta not belongs to W. So the operator G of t cannot be a G of t is not a constant. Okay. So G of what is G of t? G of t is T conductor of beta into W. Okay. So hence G of t cannot be a constant. Okay. Now what we know that T conductor of alpha divides minimal polynomial. Therefore, what about the form of G? Minimal polynomial for T is of this form. X minus C1 raised to R1, X minus C2 raised to R2, etc. X minus CK raised to RK. So, minimal polynomial for, so the form of G must be of this form. For minimal polynomial, this is of the form x minus c1 raised to r1, x minus c2 raised to r2, etc. x minus ck raised to rk. G divides minimal polynomial implies minimal polynomial for t is of this form. Because if some p is of the form x minus 2 whole square into x minus 3 whole cube and some G divides P means G must be of the form some x minus 2, x minus 3 square, etc. Okay. So G may be equal to P also. Okay. So since G is not a constant, at least one of the integers EI is positive. Given we have proved G cannot be a constant. Therefore, G is not a constant implies at least one of these integers EI is positive. Okay. Choose J so that Ej greater than 0. Choose J so that Ej greater than 0. There may be cases that E1 equal to 0, E2 equal to 0, etc. You choose some J such that Ej greater than 0. Now what is the meaning of that? X minus Cj divides G. Okay. If you choose some here some Ej x minus here Ej is 1. So x minus 2 divides G. Okay. So x minus Ej divides G. Hence G you can write as, or you can choose x minus Ej as some x minus 3 because x minus 3 divides G. Okay. So G you can write as x minus Ej into H. Hope it is clear. As G cannot be a constant, G must be of this form and some Ej's must be positive. You choose some Ej such that Ej greater than 0. Then x minus Ej divides G. Therefore, G you can write as x minus Ej into H. Note that degree of H is strictly less than degree of G, because G is a multiple of H into x minus Ej. Therefore, clearly degree of H is strictly less than degree of G. Now, as G is a T conductor of beta into W, H of T beta not belongs to W. Why? G is the polynomial with the smallest degree such that G of T beta belongs to W. All other polynomial having degree less than G of T cannot be in T conductor of beta into W. That means H of T, degree of H of T is, degree of H is strictly less than degree of G implies H of T beta cannot be in W. Okay. Let alpha equal to H of T into beta, then clearly alpha not belongs to W. But we know that G of T beta belongs to W. We know that G of T beta belongs to W because G is a T conductor of alpha into W. Okay. Now what is G of X? G of X is X minus Ej into H of X. Therefore, G of T equal to X minus Ej into I into H of T. G of T beta is equal to T minus Ej into H of T beta. Now what is H of T beta? H of T beta is alpha, this one. Okay. Therefore, T minus Ej into I alpha. Okay. So, G of T beta belongs to W implies T minus Ej alpha belongs to W. Thus, we get a, now alpha not belongs to W, but alpha belongs to V and T minus Cji alpha belongs to W. Hence the lemma. Okay, hope it is clear. Uh, Given that V is a finite dimensional vector space over F, T is a linear operator on V. If minimal polynomial for T is of this form, then the exists J alpha belongs to V such that alpha not in W and T minus Ci alpha belongs to W. Okay. Now moving to next theorem. This theorem you can consider as theorem 5. Let V be a finite dimensional vector space over the field F and T be a linear operator on V. Then the theorem says that T is triangulable if and only if the minimal polynomial for T is a product of linear polynomial over F. Product of linear polynomial over F. This is very important. Okay. Suppose T is triangulable. Then by definition there exists a basis B such that matrix of T related to the basis is a triangular matrix. Clear? Then what about characteristic polynomial? Characteristic polynomial is of the form. It's a diagonal matrix, therefore determinant of xi minus t. Okay. Therefore, this is of the form x minus a11, x minus a22, etc. x minus ann. That is f of x is of the form x minus c1 raised to r1, x minus c2 raised to r2, etc. x minus ck raised to rk, where ci equal to aii. Clear? Then this is the characteristic polynomial for t. Characteristic polynomial is a okay. Hence, the minimal polynomial for T is the product of linear polynomial over F because minimal polynomial divides the characteristic polynomial. Okay. Therefore, minimal polynomial for T is the product of linear polynomials over F. Clear? Okay. Now, conversely, assume that minimal polynomial for T is a T is of this form. And we have to prove that T is triangulable. Okay. Assume that minimal polynomial for T is a product of linear factors and we have to prove T is triangulable. Let dimension of V equal to n. Consider W0 is equal to set 0 which is a proper subspace of V. Okay. W0 is not equal to V. Okay. So it's set 0. Now 0 belongs to W0, T0 equal to 0 belongs to W0. Therefore, what about W0 is invariant under T. Okay. Once again, consider W0 is equal to set 0. But we know that T0 equal to 0 and that belongs to W0. So W0 is invariant under T. Okay. But by above lemma, W if W is invariant under T, then there exists an alpha 1 belongs to V and such that alpha 1 not belongs to W not, but T minus Ci alpha belongs to W. Okay, here we are replacing that C by A11. T minus A11 alpha 1 belongs to W not for some characteristic value of T. Okay, therefore T minus A11 I alpha 1 equal to 0 because this belongs to W0 and W0 is set to 0. Therefore, this is equal to 0. That means T alpha 1 is equal to T alpha 1 is equal to A11 alpha 1. Clear? We choose W0 is equal to set 0 and we get W0 is invariant under T and we apply the lemma. Then we get an alpha. For alpha, we replace alpha by alpha 1 and a C by A11. Okay. T alpha 1 is equal to A11 alpha 1. Now consider W1 is equal to span of alpha 1. What about dimension of W1? 1. So dimension of W1 not equal to V because dimension of V equal to N. So W1 is also a proper subspace of V. Now, as T alpha 1 is equal to A11 alpha 1, A11 alpha 1 belongs to span of W. Okay, sorry, span of alpha 1 and which is equal to W1. Therefore, T alpha 1 belongs to W1, implies W1 is invariant under T. Therefore, again by lemma, there exists a alpha 2 belongs to V such that alpha 2 not belongs to W1 but T minus Ci. For C, we replace it by A22. I alpha 2 belongs to W1 for some characteristic value of T. Therefore, T minus A22 I alpha 2 is a multiple of alpha 1. Okay, that belongs to W1. Belongs to W1 means that must be a multiple of alpha 1. That implies this is equal to that multiple we are denoting this as A12 alpha 1. For some A12 belongs to F. Therefore, T alpha 2 equal to A12 alpha 1 plus A22 alpha 2. As alpha 2 not belongs to W1, alpha 2 is not a multiple of alpha 1. Clear? Alpha 2, we choose alpha 2 not belongs to W1. Therefore, alpha 2 cannot be a multiple of alpha 1. Okay. Therefore, the set alpha 1, alpha 2 is linearly independent. We are repeating this process. Continuing this, we get a subspace Wn minus 1 and which is equal to span of alpha 1, alpha 2, etc. alpha n minus 1. And then there exists an alpha n belongs to V such that alpha n not belongs to Wn minus 1 but T minus Ann I alpha n belongs to Wn minus 1 for some characteristic value of T. Therefore, T minus Ann I alpha n is equal to this belongs to Wn minus 1 and Wn minus 1 is span of alpha 1, alpha 2, etc. alpha n minus 1. So, we write this as a linear combination of alpha 1, alpha 2, etc. alpha n minus 1 and that linear combination A1n alpha 1 plus A2n alpha 2 plus etc. plus An minus 1 n alpha n minus 1. And from this we get T alpha n is equal to this one. Clear? So, if you consider this alpha 1, alpha 2, etc. alpha n as alpha n not belongs to Wn minus 1, we get this set is clearly linearly independent. Okay. Also, what about the number of elements n? Therefore, B is a basis for V. Now, under this basis, what we have T alpha 1 is equal to A11 alpha 1. T alpha 2 equal to A12 alpha 1 plus A22 alpha 2. So, similarly A13 equal to, T alpha 3 equal to A13 alpha 1 plus A23 alpha 2 plus A33 alpha 3. T alpha n is equal to A1n alpha 1 plus A2n alpha 2 plus etc. plus Ann alpha n. And the corresponding matrix is, this is A11 alpha 1 plus 0 alpha 2 plus etc. plus 0 alpha n. Okay, so matrix become 0 0. A12, A22, 0 0. A13, A23, 0 0, etc. Clearly, this is a triangular matrix. Therefore, T is triangulable. Okay. Now, last corollary. Let F be an algebraically closed field. Then every n by n matrix over F is similar to a triangulable matrix. Triangular matrix. Suppose F is algebraically closed. F is algebraically closed means all roots of the polynomial over F are in F. Hence, any polynomial over F can be factorized into linear factors. In particular, minimal polynomial of n by n matrix A over F is of the form x minus c1 raised to r1, x minus c2 raised to r2, etc. x minus ck raised to rk. Therefore, by theorem 5, the matrix A is triangulable or A is similar to a triangular matrix. That's all for today's class.